Just wanted to talk, that's all.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back, and welcome back to my buddy, the much requested and much appreciated Ryan Garcia of Fireside Yankees. How you doing, my man? How was your holiday?
It was good. Got a lot of good time with family, with my girlfriend's family, my girlfriend as well. It was a really, really nice holiday week. I can't complain at all.
Well, I'll tell you what. We didn't get many presents under the tree as Yankees fans, unless you're a humongous Paul Blackburn fan, which I know some of us are. But I thought by now, by Christmas, most of the major moves would be done. It feels like in the past, you know, guys sign at the winter meetings or maybe shortly after. A lot of the trades, a lot of the heavy lifting, as Brian Cashman likes to call it, happens by now. Are you surprised that we have heard very little in terms of rumors lately? And are you surprised that Kyle Tucker, who a lot of people thought was going to be getting the Juan Soto treatment this year, if you had said last year, like, who's going to be the big free agent? Kyle Tucker. Are you surprised we haven't heard a peep about him recently?
Yeah, I mean, in both categories, I'm absolutely stunned. When it comes to the Yankees, I mean, they tend to do a lot of their heavy lifting in December. I think one of their most significant late offseason, I say late with quotation marks, was Marcus Stroman when they signed him in the middle of January. But that's really it. I mean, they usually do a lot of their work in December, get it out early, and then the rest of the offseason usually tends to be pretty boring. And then for Tucker, I mean, it is stunning that there are so many big market teams who are not willing to jump at that. I was about 100. If you had told me at the start of October, Alonso and Diaz leaves the Mets and they're not in on Tucker still, at a significant degree, I'd be stunned. It's crazy that no one's really that in.
You know, the Mets have had a bad offseason, man. I mean, look, the Yankees, we haven't done much to be excited about, but the Mets are actively hemorrhaging players and signing Yankees cast-offs. That's not gonna feel great if you're a Mets fan.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things where I will say for the Met fan perspective, if I had witnessed that core do what it did, I too would be like, you know what? I don't know if I love this, but at least they're blowing it up. There would be a level of stink with that core that I would feel if I'd watched that same group. 22, the collapse in Atlanta, 23, the awful year, 25, missing the playoffs with Juan Soto on your team. Like that, I can see both sides of I'm upset Alonso's gone, but I'm also glad to see the core blown up. I could see both aisles there.
Well, I want to talk about something tonight to get the Yankees fans a little bit excited. And this may be unrealistic, but Kyle Tucker's still sitting out there. And I know you've been a big advocate of Kyle Tucker. And the longer this offseason goes along, the more I think that maybe Cashman's kind of lying in the weeds for Tucker, because he was looked at as kind of like the number one free agent headed into this season. And then, you know, we have all these weird rumors about his commitment to baseball maybe not being so great, which I hadn't heard a peep about until he became eligible to get a multi-$100 million check. Funny how that happens. This is a guy who would absolutely destroy in Yankee Stadium. Much like Bellinger, he's got reverse splits. He hits better against lefties. You love that he draws walks. I love that he draws walks. I'm sure the Yankees love that he draws walks. He's got some pros and cons. Didn't finish the season all that strong. Had some ups and downs with the Cubs, but there's a lot to like about Tucker. So let's kind of go through, what you like about him, what you don't like about him, and what do you think the Yankees' opinion of him is right now?
Well, let's start with the likes. And, as you mentioned, he walks a lot. Well, he walks a lot and he doesn't strike out a lot. When you look at his skill set, if you want to measure players' contact quantity and contact quality, swing decisions, plate discipline, all these things, I mean, he lights up the stat sheet. He is above average in contact rate, above average in walk rate, above average in slugging percentage. He hits for a good average. He hits lefties and righties. There's just nothing to sit here and go, wow, this guy, he's so bad at this one individual thing. Offensively, defensively, we've seen the decline. Sprint speed, we've seen a decline there too, but he still remained a really good base runner. For the thing I'm concerned about, it plays a little bit into the Yankee opinion here too. Why are so many teams not in? Why are the Dodgers not jumping at this? Why are the Mets not jumping at this? Why did the Phillies not consider going to this over Schwarber? The fact that teams aren't all over this is something that is concerning, I guess. It's a little bit weird. It's something where I don't think I have a direct worry with Tucker on the stat sheet or watching him play over the last few years. It's more so the market knows something we don't, or the market just does not want to commit whatever he's asking for, and they're going to be stubborn about it. Because with like a Juan Soto, a Garrett Cole, an Aaron Judge, these guys are signed in December for a reason because everyone's bidding hot for their services.
So I'm going to pull up this chat on the screen that questioned whether or not he was committed to baseball. When he played half the season hurt, you would think that somebody who's hurt and is looked at as kind of a major free agent would just sit out and just be like, you know what, I've got a track record. But this is a guy who played through pain to try and get to the postseason. That I have to respect. That's one of the reasons, actually, when we talk about Trent Grisham, that I'm a little bit bullish on him as a center fielder because he was playing hurt, right? His metrics were down, but he was playing with a pulled hamstring. So if he stays healthy, I think he's going to actually get a lot better in center field and remain smooth AF, as the kids say. But in terms of Tucker, I don't know about this commitment to baseball thing. I mean, obviously you don't want another Anthony Rendon situation or Carl Pavano or Jacoby Ellsbury or something like that. But I mean, how can you say that he's not committed when the guy is out there playing hurt for 3 months?
Yeah, and it's on a team that does not want to pay him. That I think he might have known did not want to pay him when he got hurt and came back in September. Now, again, there are a couple of there's a stance of teams know something we don't. Organizations have information on him that we don't have. But I also think part of this is, as you alluded to, like the team who is his incumbent squad did not want to pay him. The team before that was his incumbent squad were the Astros. They did not want to pay him. And I don't think that was because they never had intentions of paying a good player from the standpoint of if the player's worth it, they'll pay him. I never thought the Astros or Cubs would hand out that type of money in general. I think that might be a little bit of damage control. So we'll see. I mean, time is obviously we're going to get to see him play, whether it's in New York or not, and we'll get to understand whether this stuff is real or not. But I think there's a real possibility, Derek, that it's two teams that are like, hey, we just want to do damage control for why we didn't pay a guy who fans want back.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the longer this winter goes on without a big move, it reminds me of how Cashman likes to jump in at the last second and make that deal. Like when a price gets just low, like for instance, Mark Teixeira, back in the 08 offseason, nobody expected the Yankees to sign Teixeira. After they got CeCe and Burnett, you're thinking, okay, they solidified the rotation. They're probably not going to go out and spend another $180 million or whatever it was. And then they surprised us and did it. When you mentioned Giancarlo Stanton last time that we had a show, how big a surprise that was. It was just kind of fell in their lap. This could be a situation where if his price does come down low enough, I mean, I could see Cashman just going cold hard facts. Hey, he's worth this X amount and he's willing to take this X amount. Let's just go ahead and sign Tucker.
Yeah, and, we can even look at this past trade deadline where it was day of and they had no answers to their bullpen issues. I remember every single day that went by the week of the deadline, it didn't add a reliever. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to go do something right now. Like this bullpen needs the support right now. And deadline day swings around. And I think they added all three of their relievers of major note. They added Caballero, and I think they added Slater either the day of or the day before. So yeah, Cashman can do a lot of work in one day or in a short period of time. I would not be stunned to find out that, hey, Tucker's price is dropping. The Yankees are suddenly more active in that conversation. Even if you look at some of the more recent February, late January, 3 years with opt-outs kind of signings, the Giants with Snell and Chapman, I remember it was heavily rumored that they were not going to spend more money after getting Snell. When it comes to even the contracts, some of the contracts the Yankees have signed. I mean, Stroman came around in a week. 1 week it was, hey, the Yankees are checking in on Stroman, and we all kind of go, there's no chance, right? And 48 hours later, he's a New York Yankee. So I do think these things can just kind of happen on a dime, and we'll see with Tucker if that ends up happening here.
Yeah, I like the point that Rich Dub C made. He says if the market for mega Tucker deal isn't there, maybe he does a prove it deal. And I could see them doing that. I could see them doing like a 3-year deal with an opt-out after one, too. We've seen Boris make that kind of deal with Bellinger, right? It gives the players some leverage, also gives them a little bit of security, gives the team, some options, and doesn't lock them into a long-term deal. So I kind of like that. What are your thoughts on blocking the Martian. I mean, if we do sign Tucker or Bellinger, who we'll talk about in a second, Dominguez is effectively a fourth outfielder. Would you rather see him play as a fourth outfielder and maybe have his development stunted a little bit, go to the minor leagues, or maybe trade him at his lowest value?
I think there's a good argument for the keeping him as a fourth outfielder and the trading him. So the fourth outfielder argument is Giancarlo Stanton's going to get hurt. Giancarlo Stanton is going to miss time in 2026.
100%.
There's no reported injury, but we just know that. So there's going to be playing time there. The Yankees had a surplus in position players at times, and I thought it was for the better of the roster. The Blue Jays had a surplus in position players at times. I thought it was for the betterment of their roster. With that being said, though, if Dominguez, if his development is stunted, or if there's a trade offer on the table that makes your team better, whether it's improving the rotation or improving another area of your roster, you've got to take it. So in regard to trading him, I would field offers and see what you can get pitching wise. If you can get an impact starter or a guy who takes the ball for you in the postseason, I'd go do it. If not, I'm comfortable keeping him on the roster and just having him as when somebody, not if, when somebody gets hurt of significance, he's there to play. Because at the end of the day, I don't know, he's too good in my opinion to just dump him, but he's not good enough to not sign Bellinger for him, if that makes sense. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up the Yankees 40-man roster while we talk so we can just kind of look and see how things are shaking out right now. You know, I love the Martian. I still think he's going to be a great player. I still think he's got that kind of slow heartbeat. But, you know, the splits bother me. I mean, he really, really struggled against lefties. He's not doing much better as he works on things in the Winter League right now. I don't want to trade him. I would much rather see him develop, you know, because Grisham's probably not coming back. Like, assuming that there's a season in 27, I wouldn't expect Grisham to be back, but it's especially if the 2027 season gets skipped altogether or whatever. There's no way. So I like having as much youth as possible with some talent. And I think that he's still got a long way to go, you know, in terms of development, but I'm still a fan of the Martian. I want to talk a little bit about Cody Bellinger. What do you make of this whole Scott Boras asking for $400 million? There was a story that he's asking $400 million for Bellinger. We got Jack Curry also saying that no one's coming close to Bellinger's price at this point, which would lead you to believe his price is pretty high, because you would think teams would be lining up to pay this guy $100+ million. Then the guy who writes the story, after Boras complains online or whatever, retracts the story out of respect for Boras and their relationship. I don't know what to believe here, but I think there's just as good a chance at you or I getting a $400 million contract as Cody Bellinger this year. How about that?
I will say this. First and foremost, I agree. I think our odds are the same. The trio of people discussed here have the same odds of getting $400 million. And I'll also say this. I think I would not be shocked to know that the reality is that Boras walked into at least one meeting and said, I want $400 million if you want to get this done right now.
I agree.
So, I mean, Scott Boras, look, he's a player's agent. He's going to do what he can for his player to get them as much money as possible. Do I think sometimes it's to the player's detriment? I mean, yeah, if they're not a great player, I don't know if it's the greatest strategy, but that's neither here nor there. Bellinger, I just don't think the market is there with Bellinger yet. I don't think the market is going to ever wrap their arms around a 30-year-old position player who is good, not great. Really ever. Like, I'm not sure if that's going to happen again. I think we just have too many bad examples. I don't think it helps that Brandon Nimmo was traded a month ago for Marcus Semien. Like,
right.
It doesn't help. It just doesn't.
I like Bellinger as a player, but I don't like him anywhere near 8 years. I don't like him anywhere near $400 million. If he wants 5 years at 26, 27 a year, I think I'd be okay with that. I still wouldn't be enthusiastic about blocking the Martian, but, you know, at least if you know, Rice gets hurt or something, you shift him over. If you want to, you know, if Stanton gets hurt, you move Judge to DH. That allows Dominguez to play some. You put Bellinger in right. There's a lot more configurations when you have Bellinger on the team because of his defensive prowess. That's why I'm okay. But anywhere near 8 years is just a big, I'll just Pasadena. Let's see what else we can find. And one of those guys that we're hearing about is Austin Hayes, who I actually like, played with the Reds. He hits lefties, 266 last year, 15 homers. Struck out a lot, didn't walk very much, only a 315 on base percentage. What are your thoughts on Austin Hayes as maybe one of those like pieces that fit in, kind of like how the Blue Jays had all these different pieces that they would mix and match that they tried to, put together each individual game with?
I really like the idea of platooning him with Jason. Now, that is depending on what they do with the money they don't spend on Bellinger. As with, I think, any move, you just kind of judge it alongside some other moves as well for the totality of your offseason. But Hayes is a really good hitter against lefties. I also like the profile of hitter for kind of what you're bringing in here because he's a little more of a free swinger. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing to have like lineup diversity in a sense. His bat path, like he's a different kind of hitter to what the Yankees have. And he's got enough power against lefties where you can't just throw him meatballs over the middle and he's gonna just, pop out or hit it weakly. And you also can expect him to hit for a decent average. Like he's gonna be someone who, hits around 260, 270 against lefties. He's gonna hit closer to 300. I mean, I like the profile. I do. There's a really good blend of skills that don't already exist in the Yankee roster. I know that the batted ball data isn't great on paper, but he pulls a lot of his fly balls. And against lefties, he makes more contact. His quality of contact's better. And it's a 1-year contract, probably. I mean, Rob Refsnyder got 1 year, $6 million. I don't anticipate Hayes getting more than that. So depending on how you invest around your roster, I think this could end up being a really strong offensive platoon.
Now, you mentioned he pulls a lot of fly balls. Is that necessarily a good thing for the Yankees, right? I mean, Death Valley has a nickname for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, there's some concern there. The way I would look at it with Hayes is that he's played in a lot of ballparks where he's had to really like aim it down the line. So it's something where I don't think he's going to be hurt by Yankee Stadium that badly. And also the average kind of indicates that he's not too reliant on his fly balls for base hits because if you look at batted balls and you sort them by batting average, it goes line drives, ground balls, and then fly balls. So he can clearly get his hits in other ways too. So I think there might be a little bit of a power drop. You don't have to play him every day the way that the Reds kind of had to at times because the Reds don't have any good hitters. But if you put Hayes against lefties, I don't think it's that big of an issue. Like I wouldn't expect him 1,000 OPS against lefties maybe, but can he get me a 850? I don't think that's a 100-point drop from last year. I think that's pretty attainable.
All right, well, let's just talk offseason a little bit. Around the winter meetings time, I'm always staying up till like, I don't know, midnight, 12:30, checking my phone constantly, like refreshing the feed. I feel like over the last week or two, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty and not really even paying attention to like the feed because I feel like nothing's happening. Like I'm just being lulled to sleep. You know what I mean? What do you think's going on?
Well, first, my older brother has been locked in on COD. Like he loves the new game that just dropped. So
I think it's
I'm
good.
sure he'd be happy to. Yeah, I got to get the game. But it's boring. I said this to you before the stream. There's nothing to be excited about so far, and there hasn't been a lot of players who have gone off the board where you're like, damn, that guy should have been a Yankee. I'm not like Cody Bellinger hasn't signed. Kyle Tucker hasn't signed. There are so many pieces that I think a lot of people at the start of the offseason would have been like, hey, I think the Yankees can go after this guy or might get this guy. And those guys are still out there. So I can't even be mad. Right? Like I'm not even mad about things that haven't happened because it could happen. I don't like that. I want to give me let me be happy or mad. It is almost the new year, and I have no idea how I feel about this offseason.
Yeah, it's weird, and it's not just the Yankees that are being quiet. A lot of the big teams are being quiet. You wonder if the uncertainty about the 2027 season is holding people back. People don't want to, I don't even know how to phrase it. Do they not want to commit to a player that for a season that might not happen? Do they? I don't know. Are guys asking too much because they want to make up for a missed season? I mean, look at the money that relief pick. Luke Weaver got $11 goddamn million. I mean, the prices are astronomical.
Yeah, I think the reliever market too. You're seeing a lot of. I think teams are kind of jumping back on the hey, let's build these expensive bullpens bandwagon. I'm not sure I'm there with how I want to build my roster, but I'm not against it either. And then when you look at kind of some previous examples of this, you have the lockout winner, the one where 21 to 22, because you had the effects of not having fans in the stands for the 2020 season, not having 100% capacity in 21. That offseason from 2020 to 2021, I mean, that is what this offseason is mirroring in terms of big market teams not really being involved. And the thing that kind of scares me is the Yankees were one of those teams who kind of sat by the sideline, and the Dodgers weren't really that involved, sure, but they had just come off a World Series in 2020. They made some noise after the 2020 season financially, but you see some good contracts signed for teams, like very friendly contracts. The Correa contract's the one I always think back on in 22 and go, man, if the Yankees had given him that opt-out laden deal and they had gotten this incredibly, like this 291 hitter with 22 home runs in 22 instead of IKF, like what would that have season been? It's a little different. Correa comes with some other conversations about that relationship with the Yankees, but I don't know, man. Like tying it back to Kyle Tucker, if he signs one of these deals and we end up, like, I don't hate Austin Hayes or anything like that. Like, I actually like the idea of the platoon. But if he signs a 3-year deal a week after we sign Austin Hayes, I'm flipping out. I'm going to be so upset. I'll be so mad. It's going to be like picking IKF over Correa or the other shortstops again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just ready for some action, man. And it's like the Elvis Presley song: a little less conversation, a little more action. I need some baseball news to brighten the day. Ryan, thanks so much. Everybody, go ahead and follow Ryan on all the platforms. Fireside Yankees is a great watch. I watch all the time. Always great takes, and obviously great takes here tonight. So thanks, Ryan. And hopefully next time we chat, the Yankees will have actually moved the needle a little bit. Everybody like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out nydesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.